as with all of our presentations here at Royal Roads, we think it's important to begin by acknowledging that Royal Roads University is located on the traditional lands of the Kusepsum and Lekwungen families. There has been a long, long history of teaching, learning, and gathering that's happened on these lands decades past, now in the present, and will continue on far in the future. So it's with great gratitude that we are part of that ecosystem today. We are all here to chat about our new graduate diploma, our graduate diploma in project management and organizational leadership. My name is Selena Kunar, and I'm an education advisor here at Royal Roads University. We're joined by some folks who will tell us a lot more about the program and support us along our exploration today. So a big welcome to Dr. Zoe MacLeod, the Associate Vice President of Professional and Continuing Studies, who we'll get to hear from shortly as we explore the program. Nicole Poynton from our international liaison coordinator, who will help us explore a little bit more about what this means for our international audience. And then we have some folks that you might not be able to see on our video screens, but you will see in our chat box. So a big welcome to Bev from our enrollment advising team, who's here to answer any questions, and Kelsey as well, who is our RISIA. So if you have any questions about anything related to immigration or postgraduate work permits, Kelsey is the place to go. So now that you've learned a little bit about who we are, we would love to learn a little bit about all of you. So if you feel comfortable testing out our chat box, let us know, where are you joining us from? What sector are you currently in? And perhaps what you're hoping to learn in our webinar today. That'll help us get a sense of who's in the room and help us make sure that all the information is relevant to you. So while our introductions start coming in, I'm going to move through how we're going to spend the rest of the hour together this morning or afternoon or evening, depending on when you're joining us. So next, we're going to move into a quick exploration of the Royal Roads University experience, head into our program overview, and cap off with an application process and requirement walkthrough. And of course, if you have any questions, we will leave time at the end of the session to explore those, but feel free to pop your questions in the chat box as things come up for you, and we can tackle those together. So I'm going to turn my attention to my second monitor and see who is joining us today in our chat box. So hello from Kelsey, thank you so much. We have Susan, who is Healthcare Quality Improvement from Northern BC, Burns Lake. We have Royal Roads University joining us, Marcelo from Victoria, BC. We have, from Singapore in the construction sector. Well, thank you so much for joining us, MD. We have Nai from Ghana International Development. We have James from Edmonton, who just finished the BCom program at Royal Roads. Wow, congratulations, James. Thank you for being with us today. Jennifer from Saskatchewan, who works in the post-secondary education. Mike from Calgary, working in professional service firms and higher education. This is a wonderful, please everyone keep popping in where you're from, where you're working, and what you'd like to explore, as we'll keep checking into the chat box. I think the chat box is such a wonderful way for us to get a sense of the diversity this program brings in terms of backgrounds, geography. So continue to look to the chat box to see who else is joining us today. So with that, I will pass the microphone over to you, Nicole.
Hello, I get to share our location, which is a wonderful place to live and learn and study. We are in Victoria, BC. It is the capital of British Columbia. And we are a ferry ride or a short plane ride away from Vancouver, BC. If you haven't had an opportunity to come to British Columbia or Victoria more specifically, we are quite a thriving city and on a very large island, Vancouver Island, which is the size of the Netherlands approximately. So not a small island. And as you can see here, we're quite connected. These lines make it look like we're very far away, but we're actually that little island that is zoomed in there. So a few more facts about Victoria, if we can go to the next slide. Our population of Greater Victoria, 367 to 700, it lives a lot bigger than that because we are the capital city. So it is a very vibrant city, very cultural, and many opportunities and industries coming out of us being the capital city of British Columbia. As I mentioned, we're very close to Vancouver and also Seattle. We have connections by ferry to Washington State and also by plane on a daily basis. And we have thriving industries here in Victoria. Research and technology, tourism and hospitality. We're a big beacon for people to come and visit from all around the world. And of course, education. We're one of 2 public universities. And we are very attractive because of our climate. We have one of the mildest climates in Canada. We maybe get snow 1 or 2 times a year, and it is fun when we get snow. It's a novelty. So Canada is sort of known for being a little bit chillier, but Victoria is very mild and very pleasant. And just a couple of rankings there, you'll notice on the slide. Best small cities, we get a lot of accolades for our culture and all of our events and festivals, but the one I really like to highlight is friendliest cities. Our students, when they're coming from across Canada or around the world, they're always noting to all of us at Royal Roads just how friendly they find Victoria to be as a city.
Thanks so much, Nicole. So now that we've talked about our location, we want to explore our place. So Royal Roads University. We're so lucky to have a beautiful physical location that you can see here in some of our photos. The photo in the top left is Hatley Castle. That is, I would say, our most iconic building and the center of our campus. And you may recognize it from films such as X-Men, Deadpool, and recently a Disney franchise, The Descendants, as well. So it's always busy here at Royal Roads, but it's always lots of fun. Looking to the photo in the top right, this is a picture of our Japanese gardens. We're so lucky to be situated on over 500 acres of overgrowth forest. So that allows us to have these beautiful curated gardens, but also an abundance of wildlife and wild terrain as well. Well, we're so lucky to have this beautiful physical campus. We've actually been moving in the online space for over 25 years as well. So our classrooms are not only physical, but virtual as well. For the past 25 years, our pedagogy, our learning, teaching, research model, our technological capacity as well as the university has allowed us to create life-changing environments, both physically and online. So when things took a bit of a turn as we all entered these turbulent times with COVID-19, we were very fortunate that Royal Roads University was positioned well to ensure that our students' journey, their success, and their educational experience with us was smooth as ever. Speaking of moving through these turbulent times, we are so excited to share that Royal Roads University is awarding Dr. Bonnie Henry a Doctor of Laws for her leadership and courage in helping BC navigate their response to the COVID-19 pandemic. For those of you who may not know Dr. Bonnie Henry, she is our provincial health officer, and she was actually recently profiled by the New York Times due to her handling of the COVID pandemic here in BC. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about Dr. Bonnie Henry and how she symbolizes the things that are important to us here at Royal Roads University, feel free to head to our website or the New York Times article to learn more. We are so lucky here on our campus because we move in both the physical education space, but virtual as well. We have a huge variety of programmings we offer in many different ways as well. So this is just a short list and short sampling of the courses that we offer here, both in a fully on-campus format, for example, our Masters of Arts in Intercultural and International Communication, our Graduate Diploma in Project Management and Organizational Leadership, and then we move into our blended programs as well. So these are programs that get to have the best of both worlds, be facilitated in an online space, but folks are able to come to our university for short learning residencies. So these programs include our Graduate Certificate in Project Management, our Master of Business Administration in Executive Management, and a Master of Arts in Leadership. And finally, we also have programs that run fully online. So these programs include things like our Master of Arts in Climate Action Leadership and our Graduate Certificate in Workplace Innovation. So if you have any questions about the programs that we offer here at Royal Roads and how we offer them, please connect with Bev and our enrollment teams, as they're more than happy to connect with you about any of the programs that we offer. And speaking of programs, this is where I hand the microphone over to Zoe to explore this exciting one today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Selena. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for your interest in our Graduate Diploma in Project Management and Organizational Leadership. I hope that you're all healthy and safe wherever you are in the country or abroad, and look forward to the conversation. I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of this program, and for a variety of reasons, because there's been a number of changes. You know, we created this program, the Project Management and Organizational Leadership Diploma program, specifically to be delivered on campus. And we anticipated that that would really seek and reach an international audience. We already have a graduate certificate in project management that we deliver in a blended format, and we already have a graduate certificate in management and leadership that is also delivered in a blended format. And we thought, based on interest and feedback from our international students, that this would be an amazing opportunity for them to come and learn these content areas while on campus. So that's why you would have seen in the slide previously that Selena mentioned that this is an on-campus program. It really was intended to be an on-campus program for a specific audience, although we have many ways of delivering it. So when COVID hit, we thought, okay, well, let's look at what we can do for this audience, as well as perhaps others who are interested in this topic area. And so we said, well, let's align the project management portion with the graduate certificate in project management. They are the same courses anyway, moving forward. And we will talk a little bit more about this too, but I wanted to give you some high level context for why this looks a little bit different. And so we decided to do was align the first portion of the program with our already online project management program. And we will talk a little bit more about the on-campus portion as well. But I wanted to just give you a sense of that this program is actually currently going to be blended for the next offering until we know a little bit more about what the next phase looks like for us with regards to COVID-19. So I'll touch on that a little bit. But we're really essentially excited to offer this program. What an amazing, opportune, if not tricky time to be exploring leadership and management from organizational perspectives. You know, Selena is just talking about Dr. Bonnie Henry, and how challenging is it right now to not just be managing projects, but managing people, processes, panic, all kinds of things. You know, it takes stamina, it takes courage, it takes increasing resilience to step into leadership roles, whether you're managing people or projects or teams or systems or organizations. So throughout the program, we're essentially looking at what the future of leadership looks like, both from a project management perspective, but also from an overarching leadership perspective. We will likely look a little at the past, you know, what have past models of leadership look like for us, and what is really needed right now and into the future. And while we're going to be focusing on project management tools and techniques to give you some skill set in that space, we are going to be also looking at who you need to be in order to lead those projects and lead people into the future. So, you know, from a high level perspective, we're looking at how the world of organizations are shifting. How do we need to be better collaborators, communicators, and perhaps lead in a caring, creative, and courageous way forward? So how are we going to lead our teams and systems in new and different ways? If nothing else, this pandemic has given us an opportunity to accelerate new and different ways of leading virtual teams. Many of you are probably leading virtual teams or are working on a virtual team, and it is not as easy as it sounds. So we'll be looking at creativity and innovation, what it takes to transform those teams, systems, and cultures in this new digital world. And of course, like all of the programs at Royal Roads, we'll want you to bring your own context with you so that the learning is really relevant for you. That essentially means that from whatever sector or whatever organization you're coming from, everything that you bring is relevant and will be, a context through which you will learn. The program is essentially broken into two main themes. And so we'll be touching on both of those themes really in all of the courses. While they are broken into project management and organizational leadership, we really do touch and integrate those themes throughout the program. So you can get to the next slide, Selena, thank you. As mentioned, we broke the program into two terms. Initially it was going to be all on campus for this particular program. However, we've decided that we will start online and then see how it goes. So, the program itself is going to be made up of 6 courses or 18 credits. And, the first course is normally delivered in a blended format. In February, it will also be delivered in a bit of a blended format, however, just not on campus or synchronous, if you will. We will have a virtual residency as part of the first course, the right side of project management, and it will be 1 full week of virtual residency. So just like if we were going to have an on-campus offering of that program, we will be doing it virtually using learning management system and video conferencing tools. So, if you're thinking about that program, in the schedule, it's currently listed as the virtual residency, and we would really strongly encourage you to block that week just as you would have if you were coming to campus, and allow yourself some time. Now, of course, we have structured it in such a way that there's lots of breaks, there's lots of engagement, and really thinking about what Zoom fatigue looks like for all of us these days. So we've structured the content of the program in really a meaningful and purposeful way. The first course really is going to be looking at sort of the art of project management, and you're going to explore project leadership, team building, and other critical components of the project management context. You're going to explore in the first course areas of leadership, meeting your teams, orienting yourselves to the virtual environment, and then really focusing on kind of the project management aspect of the program, critical components of project leadership, and essentially the business requirements. And all of our programs, we'll talk a little bit about this as well, use or reference the Project Management Institute's body of knowledge as a foundation of knowledge. So the actual 5-day virtual residency will also have a major case study that runs through the entire first residency, and we'll explore that in detail. And then you're going to head into 2 other additional online courses called Managing Complex Projects and Project Planning and Scheduling. And for the most part, we're really looking at helping you, equipping you with tools for a practical application of this knowledge in a wide array of projects. The project management taught in this course can really be applied to any industry or sector, though of course we make use of a number of IT-related scenarios. And the IT-related scenarios are important because right now, of course, everything we touch has an IT connection to it. So again, a really intentional desire to use relevant scenarios. And so in that course, we're going to look at everything from project integration, scope management, time management, cost management, quality management. There's a lot of management, human resources, communications, risk, procurement, stakeholder management, and then move into what that actually looks like from project planning and scheduling perspective. And everything from initiating and planning and executing and controlling and essentially closing out a project, and what that looks like from a project management perspective, but also from a leadership perspective. So I won't spend too much more time there because there's lots of information we can focus on the project management side. And then I'm going to flip over just to what we're currently calling term 2, which is the intention of delivering the second part of the program really focused on organizational leadership on campus in the fall, in September of 2021. Now, if we aren't able to do that, those courses also exist online, and so we do have the capacity to shift to an online version relatively easily. But like I say, we do have some intention and desire to be able to offer those courses as well on campus. So with that said, these remaining 3 courses will really focus on providing a framework for leadership that's future-oriented. We want to explore the complex challenges associated with effective leadership in organizations. What a perfect time to be exploring that, but both from an individual and collaborative approach, again, drawn from your own experience, either as a leader or a manager or someone who's aspiring to move into a leadership position. And of course, we're going to be looking at all kinds of recent literature and research in order to inform, leadership and successful organizational change for you as you're moving into your own organizations. You essentially will create and talk about your own personal leadership challenges and what goals for the future might look like for you, and how you might become an effective catalyst for change. And then we're going to talk about really the explicit linkages between technology, culture, and communication processes and concepts, and how we could culturally and respectfully explore technological design and implementation in organizations. So really, what does organizational structure look like for you in your organizations, and sort of leading practices in that space? Currently, I think there is definitely an opportunity for organizations to be rethinking what their structures look like. And so we want to explore, what good structures look like, and potentially even what non-hierarchical structures could look like moving forward. And then we're going to move into strategy and culture as it relates to workplace innovation. So you'll look at where innovation is happening in your organization. Again, a fascinating time to explore innovation. You rewind back to March, at least in North America, when the pandemic was just starting to take grasp, and you can see how many organizations have really pivoted, the word of the year, to help themselves survive, and also to help the communities and the world at large manage through a pandemic. So there's been so many creative ways that organizations have either needed to reinvent themselves or adapted, and I'm sure you can think of a few. So we're going to focus in the strategy and culture, and how do you actually inform your executive teams and pitch your ideas, and how do you actually create cultures of innovation inside your organization. So in short, which doesn't feel like very short because it feels like I was talking for a very long time, those are the 6 courses that we will be focusing on in this particular program. We can go to the next slide, Selena. Essentially, what we want to make sure is that you're going away with a greater ability to understand yourself, your teams, your organizations, and your systems, and set you up with the tools and techniques, whether it be project management, which is a transferable skill in any sector, or organizational leadership, which will help you really think about how your organizations can thrive for the future. So from an alignment perspective, the project management courses in the program are aligned with the Project Management Institute. We are a registered education provider. There is some transition happening with the Project Management Institute, and they are moving to what they're calling an authorized training provider, and we're in that process as well already. So we'll be making sure that we are connected to that as it moves forward. We are ensuring that you are getting the education required for you to carry on, should you want to receive your professional management or project management professional designation moving forward. So that's kind of it in a high level overview of the program. Happy to answer questions, which we will do. probably in a few minutes. And I think I'm going to pass it back to Selena, and then happy to entertain questions. And of course, if I haven't answered anything or we don't get a chance to answer those questions, feel free to reach out and to any of us really on the call, and or me directly if you want to talk about the content or the future iterations of the program.
Thank you so much, Zoe. While we're still chatting about the program, we also like to tell you how flexible this program is on our campus. So if you're interested in diving into the coursework, but you're thinking, okay, how do I dip my toes and how can I get a taste and figure out, will this work for my lifestyle? Is this what I'm looking for? General studies is a wonderful option where folks can take a course at a time in ways that suit your schedule. More often than not, our general studies folks end up transitioning right into the program, which is wonderful. So do know that if you start in a general studies capacity, your time in that course will move with you once you start our program. Upon completion of our program, there are some master's programs at our university that these credits transfer into. So if you're looking a little bit longer down the road, we want to tell you what this graduate diploma can get you. So you can move into our MBA, our Master of Global Management, our MA in Interdisciplinary Studies, and an MA in Tourism Management. So if you have any questions about the flexibility of this program, Bev is here and can help us move through those together. So now we're going to head into a walkthrough of the application process. I'm going to turn my head to the chat box for just a quick second to see if there was any questions that have popped up so far. Oh, we had a good question. What is the duration of this program?
I'm happy to answer that, Selena. The duration of the program for this particular offering is February to December, so essentially a 10-month program. If we had been delivering it strictly on campus, it might have been a little bit shorter, but definitely longer than 8 months, between 8 to 9 months. And then if we were strictly delivering it online, that may also change a little bit as well. So for the February offering, I will just simply say it is a 10-month program.
Awesome, Zoe. Thanks so much. And then we have some more questions in the chat box, but I'm going to swing through our application process as I think they're a great way to kick off the question and conversations at the tail end of today's session. So we like to start by giving you an overview of the admission criteria for this program. So here at Royal Roads, we have both standard and flexible admissions. Standard admissions requires a completion of a 4-year undergraduate degree in arts, business, or environmental studies, or another acceptable alternative, including either a master's or doctoral level degree. Then as well as typically a minimum of 2 years of work in relevant leadership management, communication, training, marketing, or consulting roles. Flexible admissions. So flexible admissions is sometimes called our professional pathway as well. So it's for folks who may not have the traditional academic background, but have been working in this field and have the real lived experience and are able to bring that experience into our classroom. So for flexible admissions, applicants who do not meet the standard admission requirements need a minimum of 4 full-time years of relevant work experience and some post-secondary education. We like to highlight that our flexible admissions applicants are assessed on a case-by-case basis. So if you have any questions about what flexible admission could mean for you, please connect with our offices as we're more than happy to help explore that together. So to give you a tiny bit of context on what that case-by-case looks like, we have that little note there. So the applications will be adjudicated based on a consideration of all standard supporting documents. So for example, your transcript, your resume, statement of intent, and reference letters, with a broad focus on work, life, volunteer experience, as well as any academic work or credentials. So we take a very holistic view as we move through our adjudication process. So please connect with our offices as we are always eager to help you explore what flexible admissions could mean for you. So talking about our supporting documents, This is a bit of a linear path on how the actual application process works. So it begins by submitting an online application, which includes a fee of $126.28. And once that online application is in, we then look for some supporting documents. So as mentioned, our official transcripts, personal statement, detailed resume, and 2 letters of reference. Our website is a wonderful resource as you move through submitting and putting together your supporting documents, as it can give you some guiding tips and tricks. For example, for the personal statement, there are some guiding questions to help you explore what you should be answering in that personal statement. What are we hoping to learn about you? The detailed resume gives some guidance as to how that resume can be structured to ensure all of your accomplishments shine bright. And then for things such as your official transcripts and 2 letters of reference, we have information about how those can be sent into our offices. We also have a note here that if applicable, we will require a copy of one's permanent resident card, if applicable, transcript evaluation, so a credential evaluation report for international transcripts, or we include a transcript evaluation fee if that's something you move through doing together with Roll Roads, and an official English language proficiency score report or other evidence of proficiency. And we like to note that Roll Roads offers pre-programmed English pathways as well. So if you have any questions, we have all the folks online today from both our domestic and international teams that can help answer any questions that have come up for you. Our upcoming intake. So we are so excited to have this program start just around the corner, starting in February 22nd of 2021. That puts the application deadline at November 22nd, 2020. This is a good time for me to know that here at Roll Roads, we accept applications on an ongoing basis. So that means we're not actually going to wait until November 22nd and look at everything that's been submitted. What we do is as your online application comes in and your supporting documents are submitted, we're able to move forward on adjudicating your file and let you know your seat in the program. So if you are interested in beginning February 22nd to 2021, we recommend getting your online application in as soon as you can and start ticking off those supporting documents. Kelsey, Bev, there are beautiful examples of the enrollment teams that we have here on campus who are eager to support you through your journey. So if you'd like to connect with Bev and her team, you can find them at learn.more@rollroads.ca. And if you'd like to chat more with Kelsey and her team, you can find them at learn.more.international@rollroads.ca. We had some questions around financial aid, so we wanted to make sure we gave you all the information we had in our presentation today. So we are so lucky to have a wonderful financial aid and awards office here on our campus who are staffed with specialists who have their fingertips on resources that could be available to you internally, but externally as well, such as loans, awards, research scholarships, and other types of funding as well. So we always recommend that our students and our applicants connect with our financial aid and awards office to see what resources could be available to you. So you can find them at rollroads.ca/financial-aid-awards, or we've also listed their local and toll-free telephone numbers as well. And with that, we have come to a close on the presentation portion of today's session, but that brings us right into the question and conversation. So please, this is a great time to start popping questions into the chat box. I can tell we already have some great things bubbling, so we'll turn our attention and explore those together. So I'm going to stop sharing this presentation now and move to our chat box. So we had a question from Allison. What is the main difference between the certificate and the diploma that account for length and cost differences? Zoe, did you want to tell us a bit more between the difference between I imagine it's the project management certificate and this diploma?
Yeah, sure. Essentially what we've done is we've taken 2 certificates and put them together for a variety of reasons, which I won't get into here, but more as an opportunity for people to broaden their skill set. in this space. So you can take the certificate in project management, and essentially the first portion of the graduate diploma in project management is essentially that same certificate. So if you didn't want to start with the diploma, you can start with the certificate and then move into the diploma later if you wanted. So exactly the same content, exactly the same faculty, exactly the same. What we had intended to do, of course, was deliver it in an on-campus format. And so that was what essentially was what the change was going to look like and what the difference was going to look like in this particular program. However, because we will be online, we are aligning with that particular offering. So it will be exactly the same.
Awesome, Zoe, thank you. We have a question, another great question from Allison, but I wonder if Bev, you're able to help answer that in the chat box. So Allison is wondering more about the transferability between the certificate and the diploma to our Masters of Global Management or MAIS program. So I won't take a guess at the number that the credits that transfer off the top of my head, but if you can help us out with that in the chat box, Bev, that would be wonderful. We have another great question from Susan, but then as well as Diane. So knowing that term 2 will be in person, COVID permitting, is there an option to still do that term 2 in distance if students prefer?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is one of the things that we're just aligning right now. Hopefully we will be able to deliver that portion of the program on campus as originally intended. However, because we already have those courses available online, we just need to schedule them accordingly. And if we do have a shift, if you're in this particular program and we are not able to deliver them face-to-face in the fall, then we will offer them at a distance. However, even right now, if you wanted to take those courses at a distance, you can. So there will be options available for everyone. Really trying to ensure that we have the most flexible option for you to be able to continue the program and finish the program at your need.
We have another great question from Allison asking, as a full-time employee, can you help me estimate the time requirement on a daily or weekly basis moving through this program?
Yeah, so if you're thinking about it from an online programming perspective, we usually say 15 hours a week, but for many people that will just really depend on your own time management skills. And given that we're talking about some time management tools and techniques in the program, you may be able to manage that. But as any of us know, once you get excited about something or passionate about something, it's pretty easy to spend more time than needed. And so you can spend as much time as you need, and also make sure that you meet the deliverables of the program. So it will really kind of depend on your own time management skills, but anywhere from between 15 to 20 hours kind of a week is kind of our rough estimate.
We have a question wanting to learn more about some of the faculty that are in the program. So we had a question, will there be an expert teaching in construction context instead of IT?
I don't know that we'll have an expert in construction, although what we usually do is bring in guest speakers and those who might make the most sense based on our class demographic. So for example, if there were 20 out of 30 people in the program who had a construction background, we would make sure that we brought that context into the classroom as well. So really ensuring that there's relevant examples for you. We bring the content and subject matter experts from a project management and leadership perspective, and then we enhance that with also your context from wherever you're coming from and whatever sector you're in, but also with guest speakers or other relevant applications. So, if construction is something that you're really interested in, then we would work to make sure that there's relevant examples for you.
Thanks, Zoe. We have a question here from Mike about the Project Management Institute. So Mike obtained the CAPM from PMI last year. Would this program add to the certification, or is it intended to be taken ahead?
I mean, if you've done the CAPM already, then it will likely validate and enhance your learning. I think, you know, everything from when you're taking a certification or a credential, you will enhance that knowledge regardless. I know I have my own certification in a field and need to enhance that every year as well as potentially getting you know, registered education hours for the next level of the credential. So if you're interested to move from CAPM to a PMP, then this will give you the educational hours to be able to do that. So I wouldn't say it would be duplicate, but there may be some things that you're familiar with, which isn't a bad thing either.
Absolutely. We have a question from Edwin. Thank you so much for asking, Edwin. I'm so excited you're eager to hear more about the upcoming intakes. So do we happen to know when the next program will begin? So after the February 2021 intake?
Yeah, so currently at the moment, again, lots of unknowns, Edwin. Thank you for the question and your interest. We had planned to kind of do a yearly offering for the first round just to get us off the ground, and then potentially to do it kind of 2 times a year. So we're not quite there yet. However, both of the content areas, so if you wanted to do a certificate in project management or a certificate in management and leadership, those are running. The project management certificate runs twice a year currently, and the management and leadership certificate runs once a year, but we do often have other courses aligned there. So there's kind of a number of entry points should you want to jump in. So for example, if you missed the February offering for the Graduate Diploma, you could start with the Management and Leadership Certificate in the fall and then pick up the Project Management on the other side and do it a bit backwards, if you will. So lots of options, lots of flexibility for the program.
Awesome, thanks, Zoe. And we've had some questions around tuition for this program. So if possible, Bev and Kelsey, if you're able to pop the links around the tuition schedule into the chat box, that would be really helpful. Otherwise, let us know, and perhaps we can have the interested folks online connect with you offline to learn more. So it looks like we've come to the end of the questions in our chat box today. Oh, and a thank you from Susan. Thanks so much, Susan. So before we go, I would love if we could explore what the on-campus experience may look like for those folks who will be joining us fully on campus in the new year. So whether that's Nicole or Zoe, could you tell us a little bit more about what folks can expect to experience being an on-campus learner at Rural Roads?
I wonder if that might be a great question for Kelsey. I know a lot of that's going to be logistical at the moment and around some of the new guidelines that have just come out. So Kelsey, would you mind maybe just speaking to that and what students may and may not do with the new guidelines that have just come into play?
Hi, thanks, Nicole. Sorry, I was just popping in the international tuition rate with the question regarding travel. I missed the beginning of it.
The question was around the on-campus experience come January, sure, when some of our programs will have the option to be back on campus, or students will have the option to come back or come if they're starting a new program to Canada and study from here, despite the fact that their program may not be on campus.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, as far as I understand, Rural Roads will be making a public statement here any day as far as how our January classes will be delivered. And as far as my understanding for the international students specifically, we are going to try and have like a hybrid model where students, for most of our on-campus programs, will come to campus with, you know, a kind of in-classroom setting. with social distancing protocols in place to give them still that experience. As IRCC announced, as of October 20th, international students are now able to travel to Canada and kind of acclimate, still get, you know, that Canadian culture experience. And then hopefully come early spring, we, fingers crossed, depending on what happens here in the next couple months, we will hopefully be back to, you know, what we used to know pre-COVID, and, you know, full time on campus, but we don't know. We'll have to see how the next couple months kind of unfold here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kelsey. I'm so glad we have a few more questions popping in our chat box before we cap off today. So another great question was, will there be any industry connection upon completion of the program? I'm not sure whether that's Zoe, Nicole, or Kelsey. Would like to talk a little bit about what the cohort model means for that, or the Project Management Institute connections beyond graduation?
Yeah, I would have a kind of a revert question back because I'm not quite sure what you're looking for. But certainly in terms of industry, we are connected with an industry association, right? So the Project Management Institute. From a networking perspective or from a content perspective, we will have subject matter experts and people from industry who are connected to the program and sharing their stories. And so if you're thinking specifically about jobs, there is also right, okay, great, thanks. That's it. There are a number of opportunities to I guess what I would say is there isn't a dedicated work integrated learning portion of this program. So there isn't something that you would go and seek a job placement right after or have a co-op, if you will. But we are connected to many industries and many sectors, and so there's lots of opportunity for people to carry on. The entire intent of the program is to give you the transferable skills to gain employment and to be able to manage and lead projects and people and teams in organizations. And so having that skill set is a very desirable skill set in Canada. So I will leave it there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Zoe. I'm noticing in the chat box, we have another question that Bev has answered for us. So thanks, Bev. So Allison was asking, does tuition include on-campus living costs where on-campus is possible? So Bev had shared, Allison, tuition does not include ancillary fees like accommodation. Though for folks who are coming to campus as part of our online learning residency, so for example, in MA programs, folks will spend about 80% of their time online, and they come to our campus for short 1 to 2 week learning intensive sessions. When our learners are coming to our campus for that purpose, we do have accommodation available. And Bev has shared the information in our chat box as to how people can go about booking that. So when COVID allows and we're moving through this course, this program on campus, if you do elect to take courses individually through general studies and you see that it has that residency component, you are able to come and stay on our campus. Though for programs that are fully on campus, we don't have long-term full-time housing for our learners. Though if you have any questions, please connect with our www.royalroads.ca/accommodations, and they're always happy to tell you a little bit more. Oh, and then a question for, I'm gonna guess, Kelsey. So does this program qualify you for a post-graduation work permit? I can see in the chat box, thank you so much, Kelsey. Kelsey has provided, yes, the length of the program is eligible to apply for a 10-month PGWP. That said, please also always refer to Immigration Canada's website for the most up-to-date information. All adjudications are up to the discretion of Immigration Canada. Wonderful, thanks so much, Kelsey. So with that, I believe we have come to the end of the Q&A today. Thank you all so much for joining us. Those folks who were able to join us live and those who are watching the recording now. Again, we are always here to answer any questions that come up for you. These sessions are so wonderful, but as things bubble, I'm sure more questions will be exploding for you. So please connect with us at learn.more@railroads.ca or learn.more.international@railroads.ca to chat with our teams. We hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when and where you're joining us. Bye.